I'm Ron, and this is my damn show. Let's get into it.
Well, I'm going to answer the question, but let me just note that there are different factions on the left. And I think the way that this is kind of being discussed in a way that just kind of generalizes everyone on the left is kind of unfair. But putting that aside, I do think that we have an overall problem. I think what happened is a symptom of a bigger issue that we have, not just in this country, but I'm seeing it happen globally, where there's just this dehumanization of people based on their political views. And on top of that, the devaluing of human life, right? I mean, we've been seeing images of people being butchered, children being butchered endlessly on social media over the last nearly 2 years. Prior to that, I mean, the rhetoric that devalues human life, I think, has played a role into it. But also, I just think that there's this dumb idea that all you need to do is like get rid of or take out some of the prominent figures on the political side of the aisle that you disagree with, and that'll somehow solve the issue. No, that doesn't solve the issue. What it does is it makes the situation in various countries where this type of political violence plays out far worse. Now you're hearing talk of retaliation in a violent way. When it comes to the Trump administration, you're hearing, policies that are being proposed that would limit the legitimate political speech of Americans. I am concerned about that. What that disgusting murderer did is he pushed for this country to devolve further. And I wish that cooler heads would prevail, but at the same time, I don't begrudge people who are angry. I mean, that poor wife and her 2 children witnessed Charlie Kirk get shot and killed in the neck. I don't begrudge her at all for being furious. No. I can't even imagine where my headspace would be at right now if that happened to my husband.
Right. Andrew Wilson, where were you when you heard about Charlie Kirk, and what is your view of the fallout from this?
Yeah, I was sitting with my wife watching TV. So the thing is I remember this picture circulating around of Charlie Kirk. He was debating the incoming president of the Oxford Union. And they were all smiles and handshakes. And, by the next day, this guy was saying the most insane rhetoric about how he basically had it coming. So how many of these leftists have murderous intent? When we show up to have a conversation with them. We show up to debate our views. We show up to in some way engage with them. How many of them have seething murderous intent behind their eyes, and they don't really want to do any of that? They really want you dead. And that is the biggest demonstration of that, by the way, in that one single picture. You have Anna Kasparian here, and she's talking about this. The Young Turks called Charlie Kirk a fascist how many times? The Young Turks played into this rhetoric how much? They went out of their way to do so. Rubin recently called him out for doing it. So I just hang on.
I've literally never. I don't even call Trump a fascist.
I didn't interrupt you once, lady.
But you can't make things up about what I've said about Charlie Kirk.
You can talk when I'm done talking, like I was respectful enough to let you do. So the thing is like, yes, they do. This network does do that, and these leftists do that. And they set all the rhetoric up in the world to make sure something like this happened, and they were dancing on the grave of this guy before he was even cold. I have tweets from Destiny which are insane. The leftists have gone off the reservation. And it's time for us to stop pretending that it's not their rhetoric which is leading to these types of assassinations, because it is. I don't want to hear about factions. All of you guys are doing this. All of you guys have the same type of rhetoric which leads to this, or the networks you work for do.
Well, Anna, let me let you respond to that before I bring Cornell in.
I have never called Charlie Kirk a fascist, number one. In fact, if anything, we have received a tremendous amount. I don't remember I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. In fact, Cenk and I got into a debate about whether or not, hold on. I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. He called Trump a fascist, and he and I got into a debate about that. But to lump in everyone on the left together, I don't agree with Destiny on anything these days. Destiny is totally unhinged in his rhetoric, 100%. I have been critical of Charlie Kirk's political views, but going around referring to people as Nazis, turning the temperature up, I did not engage in that. So I just want you to at least be fair about what I've actually said about Charlie.
There's no actual reason for us to believe leftists at this point. It's very clear that while they come out with a handshake and wanting to have these conversations, they claim, right? In reality, what they're doing is they have murderous intent, and they'll celebrate you the day that you die. The next day, they'll go after your wife. Thousands of social media accounts going after her wife, or this guy's wife, after she made a speech about her poor husband. Yes, it is your side that's doing that. Like it or not, it's your side that's doing that. There's no equivalency between the right and the left on this. Yeah, okay, fine. You're not a leftist. I'm sorry. Are you on the left wing? Are you a Democrat? Are you more of a Democrat than you are a Republican? Do you move towards those types of issues?
I'm not a Democrat. I actually registered as an independent.
Fine. You register as an independent.
Come on, you gotta at least know what my views are if you're going to attack me.
All right, let me bring in. All right, let me bring in.
I've been attacked by the left over the last 3 years.
All right, let me bring in.
No. I've been attacked by the left. No, Piers, let me just at least address that. I've been attacked viciously by leftists over the last 3 years because of the fact that I want to engage in this type of dialogue, because of the fact I was willing to sit down with Charlie Kirk and with Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro. I'm willing to have conversations, and I don't go around labeling people as fascist and racist and Nazis just because I disagree with them.
Just the organization you work for does?
At least understand what my political views are. Listen, I'm not going to be blamed for what everyone in that company has to say. Anyone in that company has to say.
The
I'm
head
an
of that
individual.
company?
We are supposed to judge people based on individuals. He did not go around calling Charlie Kirk a fascist and a Nazi.
Saying that you don't have good reasoning skills. If it's the case that you think, oh my God, you can't be calling people Nazis. You can't be calling people Nazis while your boss does all the time.
Why are you making that up? You're just making it up. You're just making it up. We're all the same. That's how simple-minded you are. You're all the same. Okay, then everyone on the right is just like Dylan Roof.
All right. Let me bring in. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell. He's been waiting.
Shut up,
please let Cornell come in now. He's been waiting very patiently. Cornell, welcome back to Uncensored, where things are getting incendiary quite quickly. I think the overriding point I would make about the debate we've just been hearing between Andrew and Anna is that there is little doubt to me that the constant rhetoric on the left, the woke left, let me be specific to where I think a lot of the blame lies, ever since Donald Trump came into power in 2016, has been this relentless use of the phrases Hitler, Nazis, fascists about Trump and about Trump supporters. And the problem with constantly saying this as a group, as the woke left have done for 9 years now, is that eventually it permeates down to young, impressionable minds who genuinely believe that it is their mission to stop America from being taken over by the new Nazis or the new fascists or the new Hitler. And that leads to the kind of thing we saw with Charlie Kirk. Do you agree that this language, this relentless, in my view, woeful misuse, particularly of the word Nazi, towards Trump and his supporters, this is part of the problem?
Well, I think part of the deeper problem, though, Brother Piers, is that the organized greed and weaponized hatred and routinized indifference toward the vulnerable has come together in such a way that it has eroded the sources of character formation, so that integrity, honesty, decency, and self-critical sensibilities of individuals and groups is more and more disappearing. So you end up with because hatred itself is promiscuous, just like greed, just like indifference toward the suffering of others. It's promiscuous. It will lie with the left, right, center. It lies with Christians. It lies with Muslims. It lies with Jews. It lies with Buddhists. It lies with Hindus. And human beings were so wretched in the first place. If we don't undergo some kind of spiritual and moral cultivation, we end up falling back on greed and hatred and indifference. And I mean, the American empire at this moment is one in which the lethal combination of the hatred and the greed and the indifference generates very much the exchange that we just saw. You see, this brother right here says, well, all leftists want to see me dead. Well, I'm a leftist. I don't want to see you dead. I'm a Christian.
You called Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic. You people have
indeed.
gone out
You're
of your
absolutely
way.
right.
You have gone out of your way.
No, let me make the
to
case.
Do everything
let
possible
me make
to
the
cultivate
case.
this.
Let me make the case.
Oh, yeah,
Will you
just
allow
made
me to
your
speak,
case.
brother? Come
You
on,
just
man.
made your
Come on.
case.
No. You haven't made the case. If you think I've made the case, then you're not interested in dialogue.
You just said this brother over here said this.
You very, very different than brother Charlie, man.
That's
You
what
very
call
different
him,
than Charlie, though, man.
neo-fascist.
Yes, absolutely. And I can
it's
make a
rhetoric
case
to you
for
to
that,
people
too.
like you that got that man killed, sir.
No. There
Yes,
are such a thing as neo-fascists. But Piers, why you have a brother on who's not going to allow nobody to speak, man? We're just wasting time. If all you're interested in is making your money, and you bring this brother on it, and nobody can say a word, and we can't even mourn Brother Charlie passing. I had dialogues with Brother Charlie. This brother's going to say, oh, this kumbaya and so forth. No. Charlie was made in the image of a loving and mighty God. I believe that. I say my prayers for Sister Erica and the kids because this brother wants to trash my Christian sensibility. And look at him laughing now. It's a joke, man. Piers, it's not worth it. The
is
dialogue
Charlie
is not
Kirk
worth it.
part
Not
of the
with this
neo-fascist
brother.
movement?
Not with this brother.
Is he part of your neo-fascist
movement? Not with this brother.
Yeah.
When
Run
Charlie
away.
himself says that he is against Civil Rights Act, does that make him a proponent of Jim Crow? When he calls Martin Luther King Jr. an awful human being and a scumbag? I'm critical of that. I am critical of that. You're absolutely right, Brother Wilson. You're absolutely right. But if all you're going to do is be arrogant, you're arrogant just like the so-called leftists you're talking about. But Piers, you making your money, brother. Go on and make your money, man.
It's all about
this is
making.
Not worth it.
Cornell,
this brother
it's all
right
about
here
making
is
money.
part of the problem. This other brother who has a deep connection to Charlie, he's willing to at least listen. But this brother's not willing to
Cornell,
listen.
can you sit down?
I'm gone, man.
I would like you to remain part of the debate.
No. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. He's smoking his cigarettes with his arrogant self. Come on, man. We don't have enough dialogue at all.
Surely you're not going to walk out in a debate about dialogue.
Go on and make your money, man.
Right. Well, there's a kind of farcical to quit a debate where we're literally debating about the importance of free speech and being able to listen to each other's opinions, which seems to me completely insane. Anyway, we've lost Cornell West for now. Maybe we'll get him back. Well, Andrew Wilson referred to Destiny's insane tweets a little earlier, which were disavowed by Anna Kasparian. Well, Destiny joins us now. Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X, buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every Conservative debate call out I do in 2026 with don't dodge, bro. That's not what Charlie would have wanted. I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
A guy
white
described...
dude. He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He didn't have
Destiny.
a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a leftist ideology, which drove him to do this. That's just
I'm sorry. Excuse me. When?
Yesterday, he said that. the governor.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college? Not
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know.
What you just said
I do
is not
know
true.
the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it
it's
clear
not true.
that the
he hasn't made it
you may
clear.
not want
He
to
said
hear
this.
this.
Is an ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear
don't
it,
wanna
Destiny.
Piers.
But the reality is, the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just
There's
ask
no
you.
way to deal with it.
Okay,
You're living in a
accusing the
delusional
governor of
fantasy.
lying.
Yeah.
That's your prerogative. But
Sure.
if it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So
The
you
fact
won't
that he
condemn
can go
the
on
murder of
Fox and
Charlie
Friends-
Kirk until Donald Trump says
Piers,
something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why
tell
would you
his side
expect
to
anybody,
calm down?
Destiny?
You
What-
can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why
Okay,
can't
can
Trump
you
go on
answer
TV
this
and say,
question?
all of us should be less violent?
Why do you
can't
think-
Trump say that?
why do you
Why
think-
is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
I'm insane right now.
Why do you
is
think? No,
your
let me
behavior
ask you a
contingent
question.
on Donald Trump?
Let me
Why
ask
is
you a
that?
question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the opposing political party.
Destiny. Let me
You
just.
have a huge audience of young men who
I'm a
listen to
YouTuber
everything you have to
who
say.
has more
So
young
when
men
you,
following
it
him.
doesn't matter.
Who
You
has
have a
more young-
huge
it doesn't
audience,
matter.
and because
This
of
is
the fact that you
world
have a
I'm
huge
living in,
audience,
and
you
your
have
brain
a
has been
responsibility
broken by
to
online
not
rhetoric.
turn. No,
And
it
your
hasn't.
brain
It
has
hasn't been
been
broken. I
destroyed
actually care
because
about the
people
country
bullied you on
and want to
Twitter.
bring people together.
If
You do the
you should tell
opposite.
Donald
You
Trump to
represent
tell
the
people
worst
to
of us,
be
Destiny.
less
You're
violent.
embarrassing.
You should tell
You're
Donald.
embarrassing.
All right, let me ask
Watch how
Destiny
easy
a
this is.
question.
Watch how easy this
No,
is.
hang on.
If
Don't
Donald
all
Trump
shout
were to
at
come out
once,
and say-
please.
If Donald Trump were to come out
Destiny,
and say, "Hey, we should all be less violent,"
Destiny,
I have no problem saying.
I have one
absolutely.
question for you,
Why
Destiny.
can't conservatives do that? Why can't conservatives do that?
Destiny, I have a question for you. Why do you think, in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk, when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United
You
States is
inflame
not
the temperature.
able
You're
to-
mocking
No,
his
it's
widow.
already inflamed.
You're
What are you
mocking his
talking
widow.
about? We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you
to
mock
fight
his
somebody
widow?
Online
Ever.
because
Why
she's
did you
being
mock his
wielded
widow?
as because she's being used as a political weapon right now
Wow.
for conservatives to continue their fight. What do you mean? Wow, she's literally doing.
Her husband just got
recruitment ads
murdered.
on email. Yeah, and she's using it to drive up recruitment for
And
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
condemn the murder. You won't
The
condemn
president
it.
can't even tell his side
You're
to
so
turn the temperature
deranged
down.
about Trump that you
are
cannot condemn the
unhinged.
murder
It is such
because
a
you're
joke,
waiting
and
for
you guys
Donald
sit
Trump
here
to
and
say
make money
something.
off of it. It's
All right, let me bring
crazy
in
to
let me
me
bring
that
in Jack.
Republicans can't
Let me
do
bring
it.
in let me
What
bring
a
in Jack
joke of the
Posobiec.
world.
I got to
And
say,
there's still no answer to that question, Piers. You can't say
Which question?
Why can't Donald Trump simply go on TV and say we all need to turn it down,
Fine.
like Biden could, like Obama could,
Fine.
like the Clintons could, like Kamala could? Why
Fine.
not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of
See,
Charlie
it's
Kirk?
unbelievable. I'm not the president
Why
of the United
can't
States.
you
answer that
condemn
question.
the
It's
murder of Charlie
unbelievable.
Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should
Yes,
be the
it
one
was.
that is driving up
It
the
actually
rhetoric.
was
You
your
don't know
side
it's
that
not even
caused
true.
it.
This
It was
an
your
18
side.
This guy was raised in a white
He was
Christian
a
household,
radicalized
in a Christian
leftist
state.
ideology.
He wasn't radicalized by leftism at all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what
Just
the
like one that killed
investigators
Malone.
First of all, no one's more hateful than the right. They live on hate speech. Their whole thing ever since Rush Limbaugh has been hate speech. They propagate hate speech. There are no hate groups. The Ku Klux Klan, the Proud Boys aren't supporting anyone on the left. Why do you think Megyn Kelly and the other right-wing talkers were so upset when Pam Bundy the other day mentioned going after hate speech? Oh, they can't have that. Anything but that. Because they live on hate speech. No one propagates it like them. And Destiny's totally right. I don't agree with Destiny on everything, but on this, he's totally right. The president of the United States should be a responsible person. Every other president. They've, said, hey, let's bring down the tone a little bit here. Which is what a responsible person should do. This is what the president should do. Not once. Before he even knew what happened, he's pushing it out there. That's their plan. Those are preconceived plan anyway. To blame it on the left. All you gotta do is check the real figures. Check the facts from their own studies, which they've wiped. All of a sudden, the DOJ has taken it down. But you can find it in other places. Yeah, 75% of political crimes done by the right. Shockingly. All you have to do is go to Fox News, listen to the right-wing talk show. And the hate that comes out of them is just bullcrap. Hillary Clinton going to the back of a pizza shop to drink little kids' blood. Really? QAnon. All this crazy insane stuff. Democrats calling out Republicans for who they are. It's not pushing hate. I'm sorry if you think that's pushing hate. There's something very wrong with you. You don't want to hear the truth, is what that is. And Republicans don't want you to hear the truth. If you don't want to be called a Nazi or a fascist, don't act like a Nazi or a fascist. I'm sorry. If you don't want to be called a hate monger, don't act like a hate monger. It's real simple. Anna is just... Anna, you cannot appeal to these people. They do not care. The guy in the middle, the right-wing talk show, smoking up a storm there, he could care less about you trying to appeal to them. His job is to kiss Trump's butt and to make everyone he can kiss Trump's butt. He's going to throw any kind of salt in every wound he can. He doesn't care. He's not interested in you meet him halfway. You need to stop it. You embarrass yourself, Anna. I'm not sure what your deal is, but you're not helping anything by kissing these people's butt. They do not care. They do not want to meet you halfway. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Destiny, keep doing what you're doing as far as fighting these horrible right-wingers. That's all I got for this episode. Thanks for watching.